You want to start? All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Charles Littnan with NOAA's Hawaiian Monk Seal Research Program, here with Aliza Milette-Winfree from our regional office, the Oahu Stranding Response Coordinator. We are here for our second pup date with Civil Beat to give everyone, apparently the world, we've seen people checking in from all over the planet, an update on Rocky and her pup, a little bit about the biology, what's going on with them, but also an update on the management situation here and some words of advice if you're coming down to Kaimana and going to be in the water around the seals, what you can do to ensure mom and pup remain undisturbed and you enjoy time in the water safely. So we'll start with the biology because not a lot has changed, and then move into the bigger issue of management. It might seem a little weird that I'm holding a monk seal skull like a football helmet, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so we are at week 2 with mom and pup. If you, after this cast, jump over to the Civil Beat page and look at their live camera that's tracking the seals all day long, you get a much better view of mom and pup. You'll see that the pup is considerably fatter than it was last week, but you'll also get a good sense of how fat mom still is. So just to remind everybody, right now, this is all about fatness. So the mom has put on a lot of weight before giving birth. She's surviving on those fat reserves while she feeds her pup. She's converting all of that fat into milk for her pup. And then the pup will be suckling for between 5 and 7 weeks. So we constantly watch how fat the pup is getting, but we also keep track of the mom to indicate to us when we think that weaning might be approaching. So right now they both look really great. The mom is suckling the pup pretty regularly. Probably the biggest change is the pup has starting to widen out a little bit. We're getting closer to being able to determine sex. We think we might know, but we're not quite yet ready to reveal it. We're 95% sure, but please post your guesses if you think you know what it's going to be. And that's the tantalizing teaser for next week. But the pup is just a lot more coordinated. And like we said last time, as it gets a little braver, as it gets a little more coordinated, it's going to start swimming further afield, and the mom is going to start moving with it as well. And we've already had a couple of incidents with that. So before I hand it over to Liza, the thing we really try to drive home is always be aware of where the mother and the pup is and be ready to react and to really inform people that you know that are coming down here the same, because we still have a lot of people that are surprised to find out the mom and pup are down here, despite hundreds of thousands of people watching casts like these. So Aliza, as the liaison with the volunteer group that's working hard to do this stuff, what are the updates on how people are behaving, the new challenges that are arising every day, and all of that?
Thank you. So everyone that has been aware of mom and pup, that have seen the signage, that have seen the various news reports, and are talking with the volunteers have been incredibly respectful and really excited about the mom and pup being on the beach. I think that one of the problems that people are facing is that they may be unaware, they haven't seen the footage, they haven't had a chance to talk with the volunteers, and they're out here for a good time. They might be cruising over from the Outrigger Canoe Club or other areas in Waikiki on their stand-ups or paddling or swimming, and they're really not aware of the scenario here, and that's posing a really big risk to them. Also, when folks are in the water, even though they are aware, they're having a really good time. They're not really focusing on mom and pup because that's not what they're here for, and they can easily drift into the area where mom and pup are, or maybe mom and pup are sleeping on the beach and they've decided to go for a swim and people aren't going to be focusing on them the whole time. So there's definitely been some scenarios where mom and pup are in water and we've all taken a big breath because we're all really nervous about what might happen. And so we're really hoping that folks will share the information with their friends, will be super vigilant if they do decide to go in the water here. We've also seen mom and pup moving more and more distances. As Charles has mentioned, pup is getting stronger and exploring more, and so pup's just going to pop up randomly. Even if you think you know where mom and pup are, there's definitely a chance that all of a sudden they're going to be right behind you, and you've got a carnivore behind you that's going to be pretty protective of her pup. So again, we just are really hoping that folks are aware and are really vigilant, or even checking out Magic Island, where it's super common. You can do laps there also.
So we will pause really quickly to see if there's any questions, but we're definitely going to come back to the safety and kind of explain a little bit about what's going through mom's brain if she does become aggressive, and sort of really make it clear to people that you don't have to be near the mom or even harassing the mom to be at risk. So we'll touch on that in a moment, but questions out there? No questions? Perfect. Then we will continue with the biology side of the mom and why you need to be, you want me to hold that?
Yeah, that's great.
Why you need to be a little bit worried or very aware of the animal when you're here. So a lot of people, could you hold that for a moment? Thanks. So some of you may have seen the news that recently up, and it's very, very pertinent to the situation we're facing here. Up in the Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument, staff member of U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service was just last week attacked by a mother who had a mother and a pup. The person was minding their own business. They were off. They were swimming. They were a good distance away from the animal, and the attack came as a surprise. And the injuries were severe. And so this really drives home the situation that we're facing here, and that how everybody here coming to the beach has to be responsible for their own safety and make good decisions. So for a mom, obviously for every mother, their priority is their offspring. So Rocky really wants to protect her pup. So the types of things that she's worried about when she's watching her pup move around is what they've been biologically programmed for. People are a threat, but what they're really worried about are sharks. But probably more pertinent is other monk seals. So at this point, while a mom is nursing her pup, you're going to have adult males that are constantly swimming around looking for a female to mate with. They see a female with a pup. They know that pretty soon she's going to wean that pup. Then she's going to go out and feed for a little while. She's going to go into estrus. And then they're going to have a chance to mate. So a male might find her, and they'll haul up close to her. You'll see an aggressive interaction. You've seen that with other seals, even a female that's come up on this beach. And the mom wanting to have that animal keep its distance from her pup. Because what can happen is one male shows up, then a second male shows up. You get an aggressive interaction between the two males fighting to escort the male. The mom can get pulled into that. The pup can get rolled over and crushed. And so the mom really wants to keep all of these animals at bay as long as she can. So when you see an instance like the very first day, a plastic bag floating in, all you see is this little bubble of a plastic bag coming in, which for a monk seal who doesn't have really great vision on land, that could be reminiscent of the top of a seal's head coming into the beach. And so you saw her getting closer and closer and closer, barking at it, moving quite aggressively, and then kind of realizing once she got really close, oh, it's not a seal and I'm going to back away. You can see a ball rolling in, and that movement, very fast movement, kind of rounded. Again, aggressive interaction. So please keep hold of your beach balls and other things as well. But now think about what someone swimming or swimming laps or snorkeling looks like to them. All they see at the surface is a rounded top of a head and a long body trailing after. It looks identical to a monk seal. So an aggressive interaction is not attacking a person. It is trying to fend off what they view as another seal. So they may see a blurry, that shape in the blurry distance, and they can move 40, 50, 60 feet to do that. At French Frigate or at Midway Atoll, this attack last week was an even greater distance. So don't become complacent. Don't think just because you're not actively approaching the seal that you're being very careful not to directly harass it, that you're still not in risk. So again, as Aliza said, encouraging if you want to swim laps, if you need to swim out to the break, go somewhere else. It's only for a couple of more weeks, a few more weeks that you have to worry about this. We realize it's an inconvenience, but for your safety, for your family's safety, it's probably best to choose somewhere else or stay to the far end of Kaimana Beach if you're going to be there. And like Aliza said, always be savvy and always be aware of where the mom and the pup are, because they're going to move, and they've moved a lot. We have to expand our recommendations now because mom and pup recently have started swimming along the jetty that is behind us, so going over into the Outrigger Canoe Club. So you have people there that are not as aware of the situation that's happening just on the other side of this. So we've had some people sitting on the jetty with their feet in the water, occasionally jumping in to pull something out of the water. Again, same rules. Be very aware. If you see the animal swimming in the water, even if you don't see the pup, just get out or move away. But the faster you can get to the shore and be able to stand up, the better. And small kids, the keiki are our biggest concern. That those interactions, potential attack by a mother could be really catastrophic. So generally, monk seals are not aggressive. You're going to be able to interact or swim in water fine, and one will swim past you and not really pay any attention to you. The mom and the pup are different. Please take this very seriously. Look past the cuteness, look past the adorableness, and pay attention to it, something like this. So here we have a monk seal skull. Hopefully it's in frame. And this gives you a sense of the teeth. So they're very similar to a dog's teeth. The jaw strength is going to be akin to some really powerful dog jaws. Like, so if you're thinking like a pit bull or a Rottweiler, you know, those animals that have been bred to be very strong grabbers, that's what monk seals can do, and probably even stronger than that. So the teeth can vary in their sharpness, but they have the big canines and the other things. Oops, hopefully that didn't unplug. I break everything. But it is just to drive home sort of the damage that they can cause. We're good. Okay. Okay, we've got questions now, so we will.
Does the pup have a name yet? How old is the mother, and how long will the pup stay with mom?
I'm going to let you take a couple questions since I've been talking a lot.
So pup is 2 weeks old today, I believe, and pup is going to stay with mom for, well, this mom typically nurses for about 40 days. She usually goes over to Kauai, and we have our monk seal and remember coordinator over there who is well versed in her behaviors, and so generally she's with her pups for about 40 days, and then she'll depart. She's probably pretty hungry by that time. And then pup will likely stay here for several weeks up to several months. And the naming is not occurred yet. That's the common name that you guys might hear, Rocky, for the mom, which is RN58, is something that's given to her by the community, and people work with the volunteer network. We give the animals a 4 alpha-digit numeric number. And was there another question I'm missing?
Rocky?
How old is Rocky? Rocky is 17 years old, so she's getting up there. Do we have the answer for a precise number?
Sure. So science is always changing, and in particular the animals down here I think are going to, who are fatter and happier and healthier and better condition. So life, the longest lived will probably end up being down here. Right now the longest animal is 33 years old. Until recently we were saying it was in the early 20s because very few live that long. But more and more animals are pushing that greater age. So I'll stop hitting, sorry. So it's around, in the wild, most animals won't get much past 20, but we do start to see some of these longer lived animals. But a lot of the females will stop reproducing long before that. And usually we don't see many animals breeding much into their 20s.
Somebody asked, will both of them continue to live in this area or move on?
Well, that's a really great question. It was, are both of these animals going to continue to live in this area or move on? So Rocky was born on Kauai, and usually pups on Kauai, but then for whatever reason, once she started to get a little older, moved over here and spends most of her time here until it's time to go back to pup. She obviously changed things this year. We see with female pups, if this were going to end up being a female, you see a lot of fidelity to the place that they were born. So once they start reproducing, a lot of them go back to the beach that they were born on. So that raises a really interesting management question about sort of if this is a female, has Rocky given us a gift that's going to keep on giving? So that is her pup going to be coming, you know, once she's 4 or 5 years old and starting to pup here in Waikiki as well. So there's a lot of discussions that managers and stuff are going to have to be having coming up. But it is really hard to predict what an animal is going to do. We have one animal, RS00, that was born on Midway. She lived there quite happily for quite a while, then swam all the way to South Point on the Big Island, and now lived off the airport for a very long time. So you get some animals just that are natural travelers and will move throughout their life. One quick question, because I just noticed that we have a guest, and we're going to take advantage of having all of you guys captured here to give a little bit more information on other ways that you can help monk seals. And this shout out's going particularly to the fishermen. So we would like to bring over Kristen Kelly from DLNR, a person that spends all of her days working on the Barbless Circle project. So if we can give her just a couple of minutes of your attention to discuss something incredibly important to monk seals and fishermen, and if you want to tell us all about your project.
Yeah. So our project, along with NOAA, is called the Barbless Circle Hook Project. So I have some right here, and it's probably hard to see from that far away. There's not much different with these hooks, except one is missing the barb. So that's the barb right here. And actually it's really simple to do it yourself. It's just a more Pono way to fish, a little bit more responsible. The barb was originally put on there to keep the bait on. So if you have taco or ika, so it doesn't fall off. But when you have a barbless hook, there's better ways to keep your bait on. You could do something like this with a rubber band to bridle it on there so it will not fall off. But basically, if there's no barb on the hook, it's better for many different reasons. The first is for us. So just say we got hooked through the hand. If I have a barb on there, it's going to be stuck. I'll have to go to the hospital, and they'll either have to push it out more, smash the barb off to pull it through. It's also better for the fish, because a lot of times we lose our gear on the reef, or the fish breaks the line. So maybe that fish will live another day if it can throw the hook itself eventually, or if you're going to do catch and release, so you don't leave the fish with a huge hole in its mouth. The last reason is for the animals behind us. It's better for monk seals and sea turtles, because they might possibly be able to throw the hook by themselves. And actually in the case of the seals and mainly the turtles, it's the line that's the biggest problem. So the line will get wrapped around the reef and the animal will not be able to come to the surface in order to breathe, or they'll swallow it in their gut. We have a little example here. So this is a belt, so we're kind of like mimicking monk seal tissue. It's leather. So first we'll pull out, if you want to do it, the barbless one. Pretty simple.
Okay, yep.
And now go to the barbed. It's pretty stuck in there.
Yeah, that's not going to happen without tearing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we have done many studies with these hooks, and you can go to our Facebook page and our Instagram page, Barbless Circle Hook Project, and you can also email us from the website to see that these hooks do actually work and they do still catch fish. We got a couple 100-pound aluas, and yeah, try them out. Give us a shout too. Give us an email and we can send you some information. We also have other information, like something in your pocket.
Something like this?
Wow, how convenient.
So these are waterproof fish rulers, and on the back you can size out like your crabs and your lobster, and it also tells you the seasons, and they're super easy. You just lay the fish right on it, or the crab, and you can measure them out and make sure they're legal.
Thank you. So bringing this back to mom and pup, so we were talking about Rocky is going to go out and start feeding. Her pup is eventually going to go feeding on its own. We have a problem in the main Hawaiian Islands with a number of seals getting hooked, particularly on these big circle hooks, every year. And it's an accident. There is no fisherman out there that throws their hook in the water and is expecting to catch a monk seal. And so we do encourage fishermen to report to us if they know or if they think they've hooked a seal, so we can get out and start looking for them. But a large part of our job and our partner's job and the volunteer group that's out there searching the beaches when an animal gets hooked is to go and capture that animal, assess whether we can remove the hook on the beach or having to bring it back for surgery. And the barb versus unbarbed hook or a barbless hook is so critical. So it can change a beach dehooking, like if the hook is just in the jaw. Management in action. So if you can't hear it, the lifeguard is announcing, letting everybody know that the mom and pup just over to the left are entering the water, and so letting people know that the situation has changed and the risk has elevated. So really quick, back on the hooks. If it's barbless, it can change a dehooking on the beach from taking just 5 minutes with a barb hook to 1 minute, or if it's a more severe thing, like an animal has swallowed and gotten the hook in its throat, it can actually be a matter of life or death. So trying to remove the barb hook in the throat ends up causing far more damage in the recovery, and we have a lot of complications related to that. So please, if you're out there and you fish, or you know people that fish, educate them, and we'll show you real quick how easy it is to do this. You can do it at home, and it's great.
So the barb's right there. You just go over it with the pliers and squeeze down. And that's it. Done.
And doing that, you have probably saved a monk seal's life. So thank you for the 3-minute educational drill, and thank you for, I know you want to see the mom and pup, but for listening to this safety issue as well. So are there other questions that are out there?
Okay. I'd like to take this opportunity while we have the lifeguard in action right now. That is one thing that we have heard is, the lifeguards, we've been working really closely with Ocean Safety and the state to try and strategize on the best way to manage this scenario and keep everybody safe, including the seals and the people. So one thing that the lifeguards are doing, they're getting on the bullhorn and they're trying to notify people when mom and pup are in the water. However, again, when folks are in the water, they're not used to hearing that. They're doing their own thing, and they're not necessarily attending to the horn that you're hearing in the background right now, or the voice on that megaphone. And so just, again, another way to be really vigilant if you do decide to go in the water is to be listening for that at all times.
Okay, so I think we will pan to the left or right. So it's a good time for a shout out to Ocean Safety and to the volunteers and everyone out here that's trying to keep everybody safe while still letting them enjoy the ocean, and everybody working together can ensure that this situation remains a positive one.
And can we mention that we're raising donations for Civil Beat and the Marine Mammal Alliance?
So one quick plug, if you can probably see a link on this link. There is a donate button. So this is a partnership. We are here just speaking about the biology and management of the seals, but this is really a collaboration between the Hawaii Marine Animal Response Group and Honolulu Civil Beat. So they are raising funds to help both an important source of information for folks in Hawaii and around the world, and a dedicated group of volunteers that are trying to help protect Hawaii's seals and turtles. So you can always click on that button and help out. And again, a reminder, there is a much more fascinating webcast going on from Civil Beat, the live camera that's overlooking mom and pup. So always good to watch during your work breaks or when you have some downtime.
Or up in the top right corner while you're working, it's really fun.
Or that as well. Good compromise. So keep watching, and we will be back in about a week to give a third update, and hopefully with continued good news that everyone is doing a great thing and paying attention to the rules and helping out. Any last words?
Yes, so many last words. Just another reminder about safety. Dogs. So mom can definitely see a dog as a threat as well. Honestly, I'm having nightmares, and that was my nightmare of the night last night, was an attack on a dog. So everybody, please keep your dogs on leashes if you're going to come down here. I know that the pups love to be in the water and run around. I have a dog myself, which is probably why I'm extra nervous. So just definitely keep your dog safe, keep yourself safe, keep your kids safe. And I think the last point that we wanted to make was about drones, and Dr. Charles Littnan here is a special drone pilot, so I will let him take point on that.
We're actually never going to let you go. We're going to keep going. So we all know everybody's got a drone now, and everybody's flying them over. We've had one incident at least of a drone, I believe, crash landing near mom and pup. So it is somewhat complicated airspace to be flying around above mom and pup. We just ask everybody, please don't go for the lateral or the vertical shot. You can do some lateral shooting with your camera, get that offset a little bit. We want to remove any potential risk of anything falling on the seal, even if it's a remotely small possibility. It also stresses a lot of other people out around here. So we appreciate everybody wants to get a good shot, but just practice it responsibly.
Is there a legal distance?
So there is not a legal distance. Again, everything we offer is and that actually reminds me of another point that Landis was hoping on or wanting us to touch on. The rules are don't disturb a seal. You are going to disturb a seal if you get too close, and so it is using your good sense. Once you've gotten too close, it's too late. So just be really respectful. These are wild animals. They're here to rest. So trying to maintain a minimum 100 feet vertically and horizontally if can would be great. The approach distance for people on the ground is different. If you have a seal like outriggers right now, Kaiwi is just molting. Being respectful of her as well. We aren't as sensitive about the aggression, so again, if the rule of thumb is if your thumb takes up the whole seal, you're probably close enough to get a good picture, but really let the animal's behavior dictate. If it's looking at you, you're too close, so please back away. But with mom and pup, stay as far away as humanly possible. If you can see it, you're too close. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe not that extreme.
We have 2 more questions.
Okay, 2 more questions.
Dana Lyons asks, what would be an ideal sustainable population size for Hawaiian monk seals? What is the goal? And Kathy Choi asks, how can we volunteer to help keep Rocky safe?
Perfect. I'll take the first one, and you can take the volunteer one. So the first question is, what is our goal for the population? What is a healthy, sustainable population? So our recovery plan for monk seals states 3,400 animals, I believe, and it is about 2,900 in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, and there's all these different rules about what populations have to have, how many animals. In the main Hawaiian Islands, our target goal is 500 animals. And we would consider that to be a robust population. So we're at 300 animals right now. So we're moving in the right direction. Right now the population's pretty stable. We're not seeing a whole lot of growth anymore currently. But that is what we are going to consider a robustly established population. There's a chance we'll overshoot that. I don't think people are going to notice too much difference between what they see now for animals and when we get to 500. Your beaches will not be full of monk seals. They'll still be a rare and unique sight. But that is what we're hoping to get. The second question is, how can people help? Go.
So as you may have noticed, this is a super busy beach, and we definitely can't hit every person on the beach at all times. So if you are interested in helping volunteer with the Volunteer Network, their name is the Hawaii Marine Animal Response. You can also Google them at Hawaii Marine Mammal Alliance or call their hotline 808-220-7802. Actually, if you have any monk seal sighting at all, please call that phone number and report. But we definitely would love more volunteers out from Oahu to help with this animal and other haul-outs all around the island.
And the one last plug, if you don't have time to volunteer, there are just best practices that you can do when on the beach, and it's respecting their distance from the animals, picking up trash, keeping your dogs on leashes if the animals are around, and all of those things that make a huge difference for the seals and our coexistence with them. And as always, if you need more information specifically about monk seals, you can jump over to our Facebook page, which is the Hawaiian Monk Seal Research Program page, and ask any additional questions. And if you watch this cast later, feel free to keep entering questions if you'd like, because I'll be going back and we'll be going back and trying to fill in some answers as best we can. Information is power, and we're not going to be able to conserve these if everybody's not doing the right thing. So I think we're done. Any more questions? Okay. So thanks again. We'll see you guys in a week. Think about more questions, and happy to be here. And thanks to Civil Beat and the Hawaii Marine Animal Response Group.
Thank you. Aloha. Thanks, guys. I'm going to keep streaming for a little bit.
We're staying here.
Hey guys, I'm going to keep streaming Mom and Pup for a little bit. The lifeguards are trying to keep swimmers out of the range of the monk seals.